Welcome back on Assertiveness, the show that gives ordinary South Africans a space to talk about things that really matter. On today's episode, we're discussing life after prison. And, I think a lot of people who get sentenced, or if you hear your malume, your brother is getting sentenced, everybody just thinks, oh my gosh, what a hopeless situation. But right here today on this show, we are showing you that it's not as hopeless as you think it is. It actually just needs a change of mindset. And just before we went to the ad break, we talked about how it's a fact you guys took away from society. You took valuable time, you took valuable lives. In actual fact, you took away from some of the talents that God gave you. So it's great to know that you guys are in business and you are sharing your life, you're motivating people, you're giving away your time. But I want to get more into what you guys are giving back to society right now, because just this for me is already tons and tenfold as opposed to what you've taken away, because you don't know how many lives you could be saving right now. So how else are you guys contributing to society?
There's so much that we're doing, and a lot also is in the pipeline.
Yeah.
Personally, in my personal capacity, I'm a motivational speaker. Okay. So I do go around schools as per invitations, not only schools, prisons, wherever, corporate, whenever I get the invitation to come and be a guest speaker. That's one thing that I do as a contribution back to the society. I know that it's an inspiration. I inspire a lot of people by just sharing, my personal story. We also try and do some charity work. We do donate items that we can as the company Namanje Events. Currently there's also a soccer team that wants to be named after the company, and they're also expecting a sponsorship of some sort. They're expecting us, to take them by hand and be their mentors, be their leaders and all of that. And we're doing business, that's our contribution. But over and above everything else, I just feel like being an inspiration to people that are, that hear and see you. It's quite a massive contribution. If we had millions and billions, we would, try and also contribute, financially, massively so. But unfortunately, at the moment, we can't. We do, contribute financially to some, organizations like churches. We do help, but we're not there yet to do what we actually desiring to do.
Yeah. That is amazing. And other than just motivational speaking,
I have a powerful course in my company.
Yeah.
Winning in Life, the Wheel of Life. It was actually designed by my personal coach, who is also my pastor. That program is very powerful. You see, I believe that you can give people material things, but with a candle-like type of a character that when it meets fire, it will just melt away. People won't go anywhere.
Yes.
But with my program, Winning in Life, we believe that we want to create people to be like steel, to have the steel kind of character, whereby when they meet fire, they will just turn red and they'll be radical. In times of challenges, they'll be able to stand. I believe in unpacking one's emotions, one's challenges, personal things which they're going through, and help them get a foresight, help them get a perspective of their lives. That is one of the most powerful things which I believe that I can contribute to the community. Because remember, even criminals themselves, they don't just do the actual crime because it's nice and things like that, but it's more so because of what they're going through, the content of their heart. I'm more focused in the content of the heart. So I do that, doing workshops, particularly in schools, and substance abuse, HIV and AIDS as a health promoter. I'm a health promoter and a trainer. in HIV and AIDS programs, you know. So I do a lot of those. I don't only do schools, but I also go to retail stores. I service them as well, you know. Retail stores, I mean, I don't want to mention brands, you know, but I get to work with them, their staff and things like that. So there's a lot also that's in store that which we are to do for the community, including the Wellness and Health Expo. It's not going to be much. It's actually going to be 20 rands for them to get into the venue. You know, it's not a profit thing. It's just for them to commit and take the event very seriously. Yeah. You know, so for them to be exposed to a lot of, I mean, you can think about the concept of the wellness and health program. We be thinking of a pensioner who is feeding a family of 7, and they are being taught by our professional chef as to how to prepare that nutritious, basic, balanced diet, you know, out of her, you know, pension. Yes, you know. So that is my contribution, and a whole lot of other things. I think there's a lot that we could be leaving out, you know, because we're more engaged, more involved with the community out there. I mean, with the Nyaope guys, we're helping them get rehabilitated and stuff.
Now I'm going to ask you a very difficult question. It's going to be, I feel like it might be a difficult question, it might not. Are you finding yourself that you're doing certain things out of guilt? Are you finding that you are trying to repay back or redo or recorrect mistakes? Or this is now who you are and it's no longer out of guilt? You know, guilt is a dangerous thing also. Who's going to take it for me?
Yeah. Well, I personally believe, you see, my company, beyond making money, it's a purpose. It's purpose driven. This is my purpose. My company, the programs that I run are targeting the youth mostly, you know. So I'm serving my purpose. So I'm very passionate with what I'm doing. There is no guilt. Instead, there is conviction. You know, instead of guilt, but there's conviction. I hate seeing, like yesterday, I met 3 young girls. They ran away from home. They think they come from somewhere in Begastyle and things like that. You know, I was very touched, and I spoke to them. I got a missed call as I was sitting there. You know, I have to call them. They need me. As soon as I go out of here, I need to contact them, find them a safe place, make sure that they are fed, they are being bathed, and they are secured.
That is amazing.
Yeah. I don't do anything out of guilt. I feel I'm very free, so much free. That's you know. Awesome. But I'm in business. I'm not running an NGO. I'm not running an NPO. It's a private company. The reason why I went straight into business was to make profit. Yes. Because I need to live out of, you know, my skill, my talent. But we also, you know, there's also a thin line between what we're doing and a charity, you know, case, whereby we freely give only because we want to give, only because we want to make a difference. We want to walk the talk, not out of guilt. In fact, I'm one person who doesn't like being manipulated emotionally. You know, looking at the kind of background that I come from, I've worked so hard to be here. I've never been an employee. And you know, I come from a very hostile environment. You can imagine having to try out of, you know, when I registered my company with the help of my business partner, Moses Conchi, by the way, we had nothing and we were still in prison. Now remember, in prison there's no source of income, you don't have money. I had to use that little money that my parents, you know, sent, you know, for my food or for my toiletries or whatever. I used that money to register the company. When I came out, I had to make sure that this was not in vain. It had to work, and I tripled my efforts in everything that I do. So I wouldn't allow anyone to somehow blackmail me or anything like that. I do what I like.
That is awesome. Guys, thank you very much for coming through. Thank you very much for sharing your story. I don't know if there's anybody at home who does not feel inspired. More than just inspired, because, you know, inspiration almost kind of fizzles away. You know, we need people to look at your story, listen to your story and say, I'm also ready for change. And sometimes people don't have to go to prison to feel trapped. You know, some people don't need to even go and sit in jail for even a year to feel trapped by life, because life can become very tricky and very heavy.
And just to chat in quickly, if you can imagine, I went into prison at grade 11. I did my matric in prison, self-study, without any teacher, without anyone to push me to study. I had to personally push myself to study. I passed my matric, I enrolled with UNISA, I did my BA Communication Science degree with UNISA. I also went on to do advanced diploma in, Bible ministry. I did marketing management, N6, all on my own, without a lecturer, without a teacher. I was my own, I motivated myself. I looked at, fellow inmates that were doing their master's degrees, that were doing different things, and I motivated myself. If they can do it, so can I. So, the message out there is to say, if I could achieve so much in prison, come out and still have a positive impact within the economy of the country, what more about someone who's exposed to all these resources? Yeah, so the message out there is to say, what more, about someone who's exposed to all these resources, all these opportunities. They're out there right in front of your face, a phone call away and all of those things. If we could do it in such an environment, what's stopping, the youth from doing what they would love to do at this particular moment? So, mina ngiyakhuthaza youth to say, we cannot always play the blame game on the government. Government against this. What are we actually doing for the government before we expect anything, from the government? So before we can even expect the government to have our outputs, let's have our own inputs, into the government. So that's what I'm saying with it. Let's wake up and smell some.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Wake up, South Africa.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, it's true. We've managed to study in prison, and it wasn't easy, obviously. From myself, I was a druggie, I was a junkie. I used to be, and from that point of only having standard 5, did courses that are accredited, corresponding with IMM and all these things. It was only by God's grace. That much I need to emphasize, But then the community should know that we are also accessible, in terms of what we are doing. We want to help the community and what they're going through. Obviously, we are profit-making companies, but I'm more than willing to also assist. I'm accessible, and therefore I just wanna let them know that we've gone through these things for their sake. For them not to go through this. So let them use us in a right way.
Examples. Awesome, guys. It's been an amazing show. Once again, I'm going to say thank you very much for coming through. Thank you very much for sharing your story. And I think there's somebody at home who's sitting who's going, I'm ready to wake up and smell whatever it is that we're supposed to smell, because I know you didn't finish that sentence. Smell the democracy, smell the freedom, and smell the opportunities. As we always say, this is assertiveness. And if you're not assertive, you really can't sit with us, especially today.